Labour's building more foreign-owned energy infrastructure. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to have a look at an interesting one today. I received this media release from the Victorian government yesterday. Victoria to build the Southern Hemisphere's biggest battery. Fantastic. Sounds really good. Makes everyone feel happy. But let's look at this a bit further. Now, before we even look at this media article, let's just jump over here. This is the measure of the current energy production from the Australian energy market. And we can see here, this is Victoria. Now, green with the crosses, they're wind farms. And you can see here producing 19% of output. Here's one at 22, here's one at 7%, and here's one at 40%. To see these little red guys here, they're power stations. Good old-fashioned coal power stations. I've never seen them below 100%, which isn't a good sign for maintenance. This guy here, the Newport power station, see how that's sitting at 20%? That's a gas turbine station. It's to kick in when the rest of the infrastructure isn't providing enough power. Because, you know, the problem with wind, the problem with solar, I mean the solar... Where is the solar? Is it not coming up? Oh, here it is. Okay, it's too early in the morning right now for solar to be producing. But the problem with renewable energy is that, well, it's intermittent. We haven't made enough sacrifices to Greta, so we can't control the wind god anymore. We can see that here. This is the current wind path over Victoria. So that's the problem. You know, there is a place for renewable energy, don't get me wrong, but it's not controllable. It's not on demand. You can't flick a switch. It's very old tech. It's a modernized version of 1,000-year-old technology, which is windmills. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And another thing, you know, they're building a huge battery. Now, there's one thing I harp on all the time with regards to batteries. So they want to bring these batteries in to mitigate the unreliability of the renewable energy, the solar and the wind, which sounds fine. But there's a few things to consider, and this with all of this technology, and this is something I'm realizing that only architects really tend to have a handle on, or mostly. We're generalists in our profession. You know, we design buildings, and we have to bring together a whole bunch of specialist skills and teams together to create a unique structure, which is usually unique to the situation. Sure, there can be a lot of repeat, sometimes even if you're doing modular stuff, but every single one is absolutely unique, and the conditions and challenges are different. So that's kind of where we sit in it. And one thing that we consider, or particularly from the environmental aspect, is the embodied energy of your materials. You may get this new super duper recycled material that's fantastic and really high thermal rating, but the embodied energy, the energy used to produce it, will take so long to pay back. It may last longer than the lifespan of the project. So you've got to weigh those things up. Now, this paper, a cradle-to-grave analysis of the embodied energy in lithium-ion batteries. Now, I will link to this if you want to go through it, but what I would like to draw everyone's attention to, and I'll read through this, their definition of embodied energy. Because, let me know in the comments, is this common knowledge? Is the understanding of every product has an embodied energy in it, all the components have? Is that common knowledge? I tend to make the mistake to assume that it is, and that people are using that an understanding of embodied knowledge to make their political decisions. Perhaps I'm being naive there. Let me know in the comments while I have a shot of coffee before I read. It's good coffee. Good way to start the day. So the embodied energy of a material is defined as the energy required for the transformation process from a raw material to a refined material. The energy comprises typically of energy for harvesting, mining, crushing and washing, and refining, chemical reduction processes, etc., smelting in metal processing. Energy that could be recovered from the material is called embedded energy. During the manufacturing of multi-material products, the embodied energies of the individual materials are combined. Moreover, additional energy is required for transportation, machines, facilities, and personnel. Allwood and Cullen reported that the use of recycled metals can reduce the embodied energies of a product due to lower required energy for recycling. Depends on the material. Here we're looking at lithium. Furthermore, the authors show the high yield losses immensely affect the overall embodied energy. And this paper is about lithium-ion batteries, but you understand everything that's involved in the embodied energy of a product. I would say that you should also look at cradle to grave. What happens to the product at the end? I mean, think about it. Think about a wind turbine. Those big blades, those are huge blades. They can't recycle those, so they have to bury them. So there's an embodied energy in blowing up the windmill if you want to get rid of it, taking the crane, the blades, transporting them, digging up the earth and burying them. That's all energy in the process. And you've got to understand this technology is being deployed to provide you with a cleaner form of energy. So the productive capacity of the technology has to offset the embodied energy that's associated with it. And that's no different to coal and any other forms of energy, even nuclear. Nuclear, there's an embodied energy too in the manufacturing of a facility that takes time and in the mining of the resources. So, and another thing, we'll scroll down here and I'll let you go through this whole paper on your own. But one thing I found that is quite interesting is, well, this is the material process and embodied energies per energy storage capacity during battery manufacturing, and all values are in watt hours per watt hour. So, I mean, here you can go, look at this is the material energy. So per watt hour, these are all the different stages, mixing, coating and drying, packaging, housing, electrolyte filing and closing. So 391 watt hours per watt hour. It's just used in the material portion of it. Then the processing is another 762. So overall, it's 1,153.6 watt hours of embodied energy per watt hour of storage capacity in your battery. And that doesn't, you got to keep that in mind. So that's a lot of energy. These things are very high in energy in the productive capacity. And if we have a look here, well, nope, actually that's something else I didn't want to refer to quite yet, but that's important too. One thing, and I'll bring this up, the lifespan of one of these batteries is about 2 to 3 years, everyone. And I'm sure maybe they've got some new and advanced tech from Tesla that may extend the lifespan, or it comes to do with the cycle chargers. Maybe they don't need them that much. But judging by how often these additional peak load plants are on, well, you tell me. You wouldn't want to be building this battery infrastructure and then replacing it in 2 or 3 years' time. That's just crazy. So keep that in mind when everyone is arguing for this type of tech. And when the government is subsidizing people to buy these batteries themselves, maybe last 5 years or 10 years, but your capacity will drop even more and more. So I'll let you go through this paper yourself, and I'm sure there are going to be other examples and other arguments that people can make, but it is a high embodied energy process, because one thing that Victoria has that is not dependent on wind and sunlight is a lot of gas. Major gas in the Bass Strait. You can buy off-the-shelf turbine energy production capacity that can take advantage of that. Okay, and I know it has embodied energy as well, and I know it has greenhouse gas emissions, but compared to other methods, it might be more effective. You also don't have the same amount of land area, transportation, and maintenance if you have one facility that can produce the same capacity as a whole range of other facilities, or as a battery to try and prop up these other projects. So let's look at this. Listed oil and gas exploration company, Oil Basins Limited. Let me know if you've invested in them, guys. How are they doing? Well, you know what? I will look them up. OBL, ASX. So they are sitting at... So editing this video, I've discovered that Oil Basins Limited has changed their name to Emperor Energy Limited. And we can see here, I mean, they're not paying a dividend. Let's look at their max data. They were up at 15 cents. They're now down to around 0.03 cents. So they're not doing too good. Their, dividend yield is nothing, and their 52-week high and 52-week low is 6 cents and 0.3 cents. Not surprising given the current climate for, well, using gas. I'll jump back to the video now. A potential 2 trillion cubic feet field named Dory is one example. There's a lot of gas here, a lot of gas very close to Victoria. When I lived there, we had gas piped everywhere through Melbourne, out in Coldstream. There was fantastic. Here I got to get the stuff trucked in to use with my hot water system in my stove top. I'm thinking of getting rid of it. I'm sick and tired of having 2 bills. So there's an alternative, everyone. And, well, gas is very good with regards to carbon emissions. Just keep that in mind. So let's have a look now. There's other options, but then, no exploration or there's no political will to take advantage of the natural resources that Victoria has. Because everyone wants to feel good. Because they all feel happy. Wow, look at that. We're getting this huge battery. Who cares about the embodied energy? No one even thinks about it. Who cares about the lifespan or end of life? Who cares that it's a foreign-owned company that's going to build it, but be plugged in and providing this service to you now? So you're going to be, you're going to be sending money in your power bill overseas all the time. And I'm making a point of that because so many people will blame the Liberal Party or the, oh, look, they're selling all these assets. When, guys, it's both of them, okay? They're both just the same as each other. They're both going to, go after the best deal, the best kickback, and, essentially giving away these rights. Well, I don't know if there's a tender. No mention of a tender process was here in this media release. So let's have a look. So Victoria's to build the Southern Hemisphere's biggest battery. Now that sounds much more impressive than it is, everyone. Let's just bring up who we're competing with here in the Southern Hemisphere. Okay, I know our economic complexity is the most advanced. I mean, none of this will be manufactured in Australia. I mean, come on, maybe the lithium will be mined in Australia, but how much of it will be manufactured here? Okay, so we're beating the Kiwis, Indonesia, half of Africa and South America. Brazil probably could give us a run for the money. That's about it, everyone. They're probably too smart. So, one of the world's largest lithium-ion, there you go, batteries will be built in Victoria to boost reliability, drive down electricity prices, and support the state's transition to renewable energy, as well as creating jobs as we take steps towards COVID normal. Again, that bloody word, COVID normal. Why is that appearing in a media release about energy infrastructure? That just is... It's insidious, isn't it? It's coming out again and again. It's part of the language now. You've got to accept it. Submit. Minister for Energy, Environment and Climate Change, Lily D'Amorossi, today announced that she had directed the Australian energy market operator to sign a contract with renewable energy specialist Neon, is that how you pronounce it, to deliver a new Tesla battery to transform Victoria's energy system and improve reliability. Now, you wouldn't need to worry about reliability and invest in a battery that has, well, questionable lifespans, huge amount of embodied energy, and that's owned by a foreign company. Over here, Neon is a leading French independent producer of renewable energy and one of the most dynamic players on the world stage. Why? Why isn't that going to an Australian company? Everyone. Oh, what's that? We don't make batteries here. We don't manufacture here. Come on, why isn't it at least going to, a Chinese-owned company? You're from Victoria. Come on, what are you doing? John Holland, give them a call. With climate change resulting in hotter summers, demand for electricity is rising at peak times. At the same time, Victoria's aging coal-fired generators are becoming increasingly unreliable, creating a need for additional capacity to safeguard the state's power. It's not... Okay. It's because you're constantly running the damn things at over 100% capacity because you've invested all this money or given away all this land or pretty much given away the rights to produce power to all these foreign-owned bloody infrastructure, wind farms, that are running at bugger all half the time. And you can see here, look, guys. You know? Where is it? There. Wind. Oh, wow. It's all coal. Coal is powering your state in Victoria, everyone. It could be, you could get a lot more from natural gas, too. Look at that. That's why they're blaming the coal plants. I know it's a media statement, but it's disingenuous. To address the issues, the Andrews Labor government has secured the Victorian Big Battery. The 300 megawatt battery will be installed near the Moorabool Terminal Station just outside Geelong and will be ready by the 2021-22 summer. So think about that, 300 megawatts. How much embodied energy is going to be there? Just in the batteries, let alone building the bloody thing. Construction of the battery will create more than 85 jobs. Yes, see, this is the thing. Oh, 85 jobs. Whoop-de-doo. Guys, 85 jobs. And now you won't have a choice. You'll have to use this thing. It will help reduce wholesale prices and people's power bills by storing cheap renewable energy when the weather makes it plentiful and discharging it into the grid when it is needed most. Neoen will pay for construction of the battery, as well as its ongoing operation and maintenance. Oh, so they will own it. Customers will pay for use of the battery through their power bills, but the reduction in wholesale energy prices delivered by the battery will mean Victorians will pay less for their power, with independent analysis showing that every $1 invested in the battery will deliver more than $2 in benefits to Victorian households and businesses. To reduce the chance of unscheduled power outages over the peak summer months, the Victorian Big Battery will reserve a portion of its capacity to increase the flow through the Victorian New South Wales interconnector by 250 megawatts. The battery will also help lower electricity prices for all Victorians by storing cheap renewable energy, support solar and wind projects, and help deliver a more secure and modern energy system. Victoria is on track to meet its renewable target of 25% by the end of 2020, and the battery will make an important contribution to its target of 40% by 2025 and 50% by 2030. I mean, that's just insane. You're going to be paying for that, guys. Seriously. 85 jobs, sure, for construction to a foreign-owned company where all the batteries are built overseas. We used to manufacture things here in Australia, guys. We don't anymore. I know people are calling for manufacturing to return to Australia. I can't see it happening. Because people, they want to live in a nice, clean, sterile country with no mess, no challenges. They don't want to think. They want their leaders to take all the thinking away from them. They'll just go, oh, this is nice. Look at this big battery. Oh, wow. And they're sipping on their little latte, not even caring. They would never want something like this in their backyard. So why isn't it, this should be done by an Australian company? It should be an Australian-owned asset because it's locking into our infrastructure. Why not? Where's the tender process? Who else could provide this? Where's the energy, the embodied energy comparison to other technology? What's going to happen when they need to decommission these things or replace them? Who's going to have to deal with the waste? Will it be recycled? Who will pay for it? The big battery will help protect our network in summer, create jobs and drive down energy prices, as well as support the recovery from the pandemic. Wow, this is amazing. This battery can do everything. Pardon my French. Oh, well, no, they're a French company. Victoria is embracing new technologies that will unlock more renewable energy projects than ever before, delivering clean, cheap, reliable power to all Victorians. I don't know. I honestly think maybe looking at what you've got right here, natural resources, might be a little bit better. You want to get your power down a lot more than what it is. Power costs in Australia are quite expensive. That reduces our competitive advantage on a global stage. The fact that a massive piece of infrastructure that you're pinning all your hopes on is going to be foreign owned and controlled. Great. I mean, why change the game plan anyway, guys? Come on, who are we kidding? So what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.